Hello and welcome to Carol Hutchins Stadium. My name's Kelin Flynn. Alongside me today is Owen Crain. And we have some fantastic Big Ten softball to bring to you today. The Michigan Wolverines hosting the Indiana Hoosiers. Owen, it was a doubleheader yesterday in which Michigan lost both of the games, 4-1 in Game 1 and then a 15-1 rout in Game 2. What needs to change today for Michigan to get the job done in Game 3 of the series?
Well, I mean, you need improvement at both ends of the field, but let's start with defense. Michigan's defense needs to hold this team, and this is a very strong lineup for the Indiana Hoosiers. They've got two players coming in at over 400 in the lineup, and, well, the rest, a lot of threes in there before you get down to the 200s at the very bottom of the lineup. This is an elite batting order, and it's going to come down to Lauren Durkowski on the mound to hold them, to make sure that Michigan's offense essentially can outscore what the defense gives up. And Durkowski, she's had a strong start so far this season, a 1.73 ERA, 17-9, her record so far. And she'll be facing off against Macy Montgomery, pitching today for Indiana, who has a higher ERA at 4.88 and is 500, 5-5 wins to losses. So Michigan has an opportunity on offense to run up a few runs, and really it's going to come down to their defense to hold this strong Indiana lineup.
That's absolutely right. And Durkowski yesterday had a solid outing against Indiana in her in Game 1 of that series. Gave up 4 runs in the game. However, for Indiana, like you said, Owen, they have a murderer's row of bats in that lineup, and it starts in that 2-hole with Taryn Kern, the superstar freshman, batting nearly .430 on the season, mashed 2 home runs in Game 2 of the doubleheader yesterday to take lead in the country with 21 home runs, 62 RBIs, slugging 1.008 and a crazy slugging percentage. She is absolutely dominating the Big Ten this season, and there's no reason to think that'll stop anytime soon. She's going to be here for a few more years, so these coaches better get used to her.
Yeah, certainly. We're in some sort of a break. It looks like they're waiting on the TV crew right now. Durkowski pacing around on the mound, and now the Wolverines will head out to their positions after they've taken a quick break.
So we'll run through the order real quick defensively for Michigan. In the outfield from right to left, it's Mattia, Blair, and Sealer as first pitches in for low for ball 1. Across the diamond, starting at first to third, it's Livingston, Indy Langford, McVeigh at short, and Audrey LeClaire at third. Pitch 2 is low for ball 2, and it's a 2-0 count for Cora Bassett. Bassett legged out a triple yesterday in the doubleheader. Another potent bat at the top of the order for Chandra Stanton and this Hoosier lineup. Pitch 3 is in for a called strike by home plate umpire Kevin Conder.
That'll be Durkowski's first strike of the match.
And Dirks had a fantastic sophomore campaign for Michigan so far. Rocks back and fires in. Going to be just off the black for ball 3. 3-1 hitters count for Cora Bassett.
Bassett's a player who should wait on this ball, but if she does swing, she's got a high chance, sitting at .342, her average so far this season.
And Bassett with plenty of speed. And Bassett took a step back there, thought she would get the call from home plate umpire Kevin Conder. Instead, he puts his fist up, calling out for strike number 2. We've got a full count now to start off this contest. Durkowski takes a peek at the wristband, spins the ball in her hand, sets, rocks back, winds up and fires. It's going to be fouled off. We'll do it one more time. Nice catch by a lucky fan down the third base line.
Now in 31 appearances, Durkowski only has 58 walks so far this year. That's compared to 191 strikeouts.
Dirk's fantastic at getting swings and misses. When she is on, she is one of the toughest pitchers to stop, to hit against in the Big Ten, second in the conference in strikeouts. Continuing that history of elite Michigan pitching, Dirk rocks back and fires away. That's going to be ripped foul down the third base line. A diving effort from Audrey LeClaire, unable to haul it in. So we'll run the full count back once more.
We've really seen Durkowski start to find her stride. The last 3 pitches hitting the strike zone.
Dirk in the circle. Kiki Thole behind the dish for Michigan. Winds up and fires, and that's going to be chopped fouled on the third base line.
Same spot as last time, this time just rolling in the dirt. LeClaire put her glove out just in case, but that one clearly foul by at least 2 feet.
Bassett steps back in to the right-handed batter's box. Bat resting on her shoulder. Dirk rocks back, winds up and fires, and that's going to be laced in the left field. Going back to the warning track, and it's gone. Sealer looks up and sees it sail over her head. That's a leadoff home run for Cora Bassett, and the Hoosiers, red-hot bats, stay hot on Sunday. 1-0 lead Indiana.
Certainly not the start that Durkowski or the Wolverines were looking for, but I got to give my credit to Cora Bassett where it's due. That ball looked like a well-hit line drive, and it just kept going to the point where it cleared the wall in left field by about a foot. That's 200 feet of pure muscle put onto that ball. What a gorgeous line drive home run we just saw.
And that ball was absolutely mashed. Talking about mashing softballs, up now in the batter's box is Taryn Kern, the superstar freshman for the Hoosiers. 21 home runs, 62 RBIs, batting nearly .430 on the season. And she did some damage yesterday against the Wolverines. Dirk's going to have to lock in here. First pitch is in there for strike 1. Kern lets it sail by. And in game 1, Kern didn't cause too much damage for Michigan. A couple of singles, but nothing too extraordinary. But it was game 2 where she did most of her damage, as Dirk will wind up and fire just off the plate for ball 1. 1-1 count to the star freshman.
Certainly not a position Michigan would like to be in defensively right now, but with no outs and the bases cleared, it's an opportunity to reset and try to hold the Hoosiers at that 1 run.
Dirk rocks back, winds up and fires. That's going to be laced into right field. Gets back to the wall. Mattia fields it, thrown in to second, and that's a double for Taryn Kern. These Indiana bats cannot be stopped. It is nothing but Hoosiers through 2 batters on Sunday.
Indiana, a very hot start. Unsurprising, given that their first 2 batters have a .342 and .429 ERA, respectively, and it doesn't end there. Taylor Minnick is coming up to the plate. She'll bat .408 so far this season.
Minnick stands in there and lets that first ball roll across the dirt for ball 1. Like you talked about, Owen, this is a very deep and potent Hoosier lineup as Michigan will take a quick meeting in the circle. Thole, Durkowski will meet up and talk it over with the coaching staff. Infield will huddle up, outfield will huddle up. And this Indiana dugout is feeling good. They're the number 2 team in the Big Ten. Michigan sitting in that 5 spot. One more series against Minnesota coming up on the road. Michigan has 2 more games before that, Tuesday and Friday. They play host to Western Michigan and Oakland. But Michigan needs to put together some wins down the stretch here to make a push for regionals and have some success in the Big Ten tournament. As Minnick steps in with a 1-0 count. Durkowski rocks back, winds up and fires. That's in there for strike 1. Nice pitch by 18 in blue. Michigan in their all blues today after rocking the pink tops yesterday. Indiana in their all whites. Dirk winds up, fires. That's going to be laced foul. Sealer can't make a play on it in foul territory. Got a good jump, just couldn't quite get there in time, so that'll be strike 2. 1-2 count now to Minnick.
Yeah, solid defensive position for the Wolverines right now. A runner on second. That ball, you move it over by about 6 feet. It's fair and caught by Sealer. Michigan really needs this out.
Dirk rocks back and fires away upstairs for ball 2. And we saw a number of spectacular plays on both sides defensively in the field yesterday. Lexi Blair leapt over the wall to rob a home run from Brooke Benson. Durkowski off speed, fires away, just off the plate. Going to be a called ball 3. Good eye from Minnick. Kevin Conder hearing some boo birds early from the Maize and Blue faithful.
Yeah, fans not too happy with that one, but still full count and opportunity for Dirk to get this out.
Durkowski looks down to Kiki Thole, spins the ball around in her hand, rocks back, winds up, lets it fly, and she sits down Minnick with a strikeout. Minnick was frozen, and Conder punches her out. Durkowski with her first strikeout of the outing, and that's the first out on the board for Michigan.
That's a fantastic player to take down looking. Taylor Minnick batting .408 so far this season. 53 hits to her name.
Sarah Stone, the next one in the box for Indiana. Another powerful bat in this lineup. 7 home runs on the season, 55 RBIs. Good for second best in the Big Ten. In the 4 spot for the Hoosiers. Another sophomore in a very young lineup for Indiana, but their youth does not show. Durkowski's next pitch in there for a strike. 1-1 count to the sophomore first baseman, Sarah Stone. Dirk locks in, rocks back, and releases. That's going to be well hit into left, back against the wall. Sealer grabs it off one hop, fires it into McVeigh. Taryn Kern's going to score, and Sarah Stone is into second with a double. RBI double for the first baseman, Sarah Stone, and she adds to that tally up to 56 ribbies on the season.
And make that a 2-0 score now. Indiana with a quick jump out against Michigan. Only 1 out here in the top of the first, so an opportunity to score 3, perhaps even 4 in this inning. Meanwhile, we have a score update from baseball. Michigan will fall to Oklahoma State. At the same time, we'd like to welcome any of you who jumped over to this broadcast from our baseball.
Bree Copeland in the box for Indiana. Got it done on both sides for the Hoosiers yesterday from the circle. Pitched a complete game, 1 run victory for Indiana, and had a couple of doubles in that game as well, an RBI. She's way out in front of that one. Nice off speed from Dirk. 1-1 count now to the sophomore third baseman. Good mix of righties and lefties in this lineup for Indiana. Copeland, a right-handed batter. Dirk rocks back and releases. That's going to be hit to the first baseman, Livingston. She'll hop over and tag the bag for out number 2.
Smart play getting that force out at first instead of trying to throw down to third for the tag out. Michigan needs outs right now. Leave that runner on third and let Durkowski focus on getting this final out of the inning.
Stone, not blazing speed, but with 5 stolen bases on the year, has the legs to advance. Anything out of the infield should score Stone. That'll bring up Avery Parker, the catcher, fouled straight back. Parker, another freshman, struggled a little bit yesterday in the doubleheader, but has had a fantastic season in her first year at the Division I level, playing college ball.
.336 average to her name, 9 home runs.
Dirk takes a peek at the wristband, spins the ball around in her hand, sets, rocks back, spins it, and that's in there for a ball. Again, a tough call there for Kevin Conder, our home plate umpire for this afternoon's contest. Liz Hammerschmidt, our first base umpire, and Chad Spittler standing just behind third. That's going to slide in there for strike 2 on Parker. 1-2 count now to the freshman catcher.
Now, for those of you who are constant listeners, you know that the press box is aligned on the first base line, so it's hard for us to judge, but that pitch looked very similar to the one before it.
And they're going to say she went around. Check swing from Parker. The appeal, Michigan appeals down to first. Hammerschmidt punches out Avery Parker, and Michigan gets out of the inning, but not before giving up two. A solo shot to lead off from Cora Bassett, and an RBI double from Sarah Stone puts Indiana up 2-0 through the top of the first.
Michigan escapes, but not unscathed. Now the question turns down to their offense. How will they face off against Macy Montgomery? Montgomery steps into this game with a 4.88 ERA. She's 5-5 so far on the season in 26 appearances, 66 innings pitched. That 4.88 ERA isn't a flop or coming out of nowhere. She's had plenty of experience, and she certainly gives up some runs, more at least than Durkowski has on average so far this season. The question comes down, can Michigan's offense keep up with what its defense lets up against a very strong Indiana lineup?
And maybe not even as much as what the defense lets up. Indiana's offense is going to get theirs. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
They're one of the most electric offenses in the country. You just have to be able to hang with them. It's kind of like in the NFL, if you're going up against the Kansas City Chiefs, you know you're going to have to score points. You're not expecting to hold Patrick Mahomes scoreless, and this Indiana offense is similar. They're going to get theirs. You just have to find a way to hang with them. And Macy Montgomery in the circle, like you said, Owen, the junior, not as great of a season as Bree Copeland and Heather Johnson, who we saw yesterday for Indiana. Copeland, their ace, has been fantastic this year. 125 and a third innings pitched, 3.07 ERA. Heather Johnson, 98 innings pitched, a 3.5 ERA. Both of them double-digit wins. But Macy Montgomery, third in this rotation for the Hoosiers. Kind of that third option. 5-5 record, 4.88 ERA. Only 66 innings of work this season. An opportunity potentially for Michigan to do some damage. Leading off for the Wolverines, per usual, is Ellie Sealer. Sealer, Blair, Mattia, Thole, Livingston, Langford, Lexi Voss, the designated player in the 7th spot. LeClaire and Ella McVeigh rounds out the order for Michigan.
And that first pitch into Sealer outside for ball one.
Montgomery delivers. That's going to be just upstairs for ball two. Sealer, a talented sophomore left fielder for Michigan. Excellent defensively in left and has really improved at the plate this season. Next pitch in there for a strike. Sealer lets it slide by.
Supporting Montgomery on the mound from left to right, Kettleman, Mitchell, and Bassett in the outfield. Then you've got Copeland, Benson, Kern, and Stone.
That's going to be ripped into left center. That'll get down. Mitchell throws it in, but that's a stand-up double for Ellie Sealer, and that's just the start that Michigan needed. Cassidy Kettleman laid out for it. A fantastic effort from the left fielder, but it wasn't enough. Well struck by Ellie Sealer, and Michigan has a runner in scoring position to start off.
Absolutely the start the Wolverines were looking for. That was a well-hit ball from Ellie Sealer, placed perfectly. You mentioned that Kettleman laid out. It wasn't enough. Mitchell was running in for it too, couldn't get there in time. And now Michigan with a runner in scoring position and no outs in the top of the first, bottom first.
Blair puts a good swing on that one. That's off the wall. Sealer gonna hang in there at third, and Blair has a stand-up double. The bats are hot for Michigan early. Nice defensive work from Kinsey Mitchell in center. Played that really well to prevent Sealer from scoring from second. Sealer with plenty of speed held at third there.
Yeah, Sealer had to hold up because Mitchell did a good job. Kind of faked that she might catch that ball. So Sealer held up until she knew for sure it was going to drop. Only was able to make it to third in time.
Montgomery winds and delivers. Mattia in the 3-hole for Michigan fouls it straight back. The left fielder, the center fielder, and the right fielder for the Wolverines lead off the order. Back-to-back doubles has Michigan with 2 runners in scoring position, none out for Ellie Mattia. That's going to be low for ball one. 1-1 count. after the graduate transfer from Boston College, former All-ACC. Over there on that New England area that you're all too familiar with, Owen Crain.
So does William Gregory these days.
Our very own William Gregory making the trip to New Hampshire for a couple weeks of studying New England literature as a part of the NELP program here at the University of Michigan. Way upstairs to Mattia. She'll hold off 2-2 count.
Michigan just in fantastic offensive positioning right now. Runners on second and third, no outs, and a 2-2 count for Mattia.
Montgomery sets, releases, and that's going to be struck foul by Mattia. We'll redo 2-2.
Now Mattia sits at that third batting order position, not the strongest batting average at 240 compared to Blair's 360 and Sealer's 297. She's solid, and when she hits the ball, she does well.
Going to be popped straight back into the grandstand. We'll run the 2-2 back yet again. Mattia fighting off Macy Montgomery here. Montgomery sets, fires. That's going to be chopped to Kern at second. Play at the plate. And they're going to get Sealer at the dish. Taryn Kern fielded it cleanly, delivered a strike down to Avery Parker, and they get the lead runner. So Michigan now with runners on the corners, 1 out.
What a heads-up play that was from Kern. She recognized that Sealer didn't have too much of a jump on that pitch, made the throw in time, and like you mentioned, perfectly placed, allowing Parker to lay the tag in plenty of time.
That'll bring up Kiki Thole for Michigan. Thole leads the team in home runs, leads the team in RBIs. 281 hitter, has the most pop of anyone in the order. There's a reason she's in that 4 spot. Had a couple of well-hit balls yesterday. And we have a meeting in the circle here for the Hoosiers. They're going to talk over what the plan is for Kiki Thole. And again, Michigan with plenty of speed on the base paths too. Lexi Blair at third with blazing speed, and Ellie Mattia with great speed on first. Mattia 5 for 5 on stolen bases this season. The right fielder can fly. Thole in the batter's box, not as much of a speed threat, but definitely plenty of power. Montgomery fires low to Thole for ball 1.
Thole comes in with a 281 batting average so far this year. 25 hits to her name.
Thole gonna lace that one to Kern. They're gonna go for 2, and they can't get it. So Lexi Blair scores. Mattia is picked off at second, but Michigan able to push one across to make it a 2-1 game. It's a fielder's choice, but an RBI for Kiki Thole.
So certainly not the position Michigan was hoping their runners on the corner would turn into, but 1 scores, the deficit is cut in half. And against a team like Indiana, you have to take what you can get.
Absolutely. Thole, great job beating out the throw there. Big swing, fouled off by Melina Livingston. Livingston in the 5 spot for Michigan, has earned her way into being an everyday starter at first base for Michigan this season, but has the utility to play across the diamond. We've seen her at second, in right field at times. That's going to be chopped over the head of Bree Copeland, and that's a single for Melina Livingston. Livingston just chopped it into the dirt, took a big hop over third base, and Copeland skied up for it, just couldn't haul it in.
That would catch the very top of her glove and then just trickle backwards and back towards the ground.
And Indiana Langford now steps into the box for Michigan. 2 runners on, 2 outs. Langford, the freshman with blazing speed, will stand in there and watch ball 1 sail by. Montgomery rocks back and fires. Swing and a miss. for strike one. Langford, a 308 hitter on the season. The freshman has been fantastic down the stretch for Michigan. Fouls that one back. 1-2 count on the speedster from California.
2 outs, runners on first and second for Michigan. Big pitch here.
Montgomery fires. That's going to be slapped, and it's just foul.
Nice check swing from Indiana. Langford sends the ball to about the midpoint of left field, right, or I should measure it properly. The distance between third base and the outfield wall, that midpoint, right along the line, about a foot foul, and a nice dive from Kelin isn't enough to end this inning. Michigan with another chance at life in a 1-2 count.
Langford hangs in there, going to chop that one foul again. Indiana Langford staying alive here in the count. She had a couple of great at-bats yesterday. Michigan just wasn't able to put together any consistency at the plate. Langford going to slap that one right into the glove of Brooke Benson. The shortstop ranges over to haul that one in, and Michigan unable to keep the inning going. But not before pushing one across. Lexi Blair scores on a RBI from Kiki Thole after 2 doubles. Get the inning started for the Wolverines. It's 2-1, Hoosiers on top through 1 inning of play here at Carol Hutchins Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan. You are, of course, tuned into WCBN Sports live coverage of Michigan softball, the premier source for Michigan softball coverage. I think I can confidently say that. Try to cover as many games as we can and bring you live play-by-play of what's going on, whether the team be in Ann Arbor or East Lansing or Clearwater, Florida.
Yeah.
We do our best to get a crew.
You certainly have no bias as the president of WCBN Sports, so.
I have no bias. No, that's a completely unbiased take.
But we do try to provide as much coverage as possible of every Michigan sport. I am very proud of that. Right now, Michigan down 2-1 after an inning of play. Indiana's offense will step back up to the plate. They'll start with their bottom 3. Kelin, followed by Mitchell, and then Benson, freshman, sophomore, and junior, rounding out the bottom of the order, batting .268, .367, and .229 respectively. And that .367 batting average coming from Kinsey Mitchell. Nothing to shy at to have a batter in the 8-hole who's had 120 at-bats so far this season, batting .367. It's a testament to the strength of this Indiana lineup.
It is, and Alex Miller and I talked about that yesterday on the call, how crazy it is and how fortunate you are as a coach to be able to stick a hitter that efficient, that low in the order, and it essentially acts as a top of the order now, because now when you have Cora Bassett coming up, there's a good chance that you've got runners on base. Dirk gonna rock back and fire just off the dish for ball 1 to Cassidy Kelin.
Kelin, the least experienced in this lineup, a freshman with only 41 appearances compared to an average of about 130 the rest of the lineup.
That's a bit high for ball 2 to Kelin. And the Michigan offense got something going in inning number 1. We saw that in game 2 yesterday. Michigan jumped out to a 1-run lead. And then, of course, the Hoosiers took that right back and didn't look back. Michigan trying to spin themselves a different fate today. 3-0 now to Kelin. Durkowski needs to fit one in the box here. And that's a called strike from Kevin Conder.
We saw Durkowski struggle to hit her marks in the first at bat, the top of the first. Of course, that ended up in a solo shot home run to start this game off.
Dirk releases. That's going to be chopped foul. So count is now full to Cassidy Kettleman. Durkowski's battled her way back into it. Two-one here, top of the second, no outs. A solo shot from Cora Bassett and an RBI double from Sarah Stone opened up the scoring for Indiana. Kiki Thole RBI pushed Lexi Blair across from Michigan as Durkowski walks Kettleman. So one runner on now via base on balls.
That'll be Durkowski's first walk of the game. But certainly against a lineup this strong, and the next three hitters all doing pretty well, Cassidy Kettleman was your batter to strike out. The freshman instead takes a free ride to first and will bring up Kinsey Mitchell, who we mentioned earlier, 367 so far this season.
Mitchell, the center fielder. Excellent defender as well as great hitter for average at the dish. Not a ton of power. Mitchell, no home runs on the season, 15 RBIs. But again, very efficient at the plate and has speed, 9 of 9 for stolen bases. Dirk fires away. That's in there for strike two. 0-2 now on Kinsey Mitchell, and Dirk in control here in the at-bat. Takes a peek at that wristband, spins the ball around in her hand. Sets up, rocks back, winds up and fires, and she's gonna punch her out. Caught her looking, and Dirk with another strikeout, her third of the contest.
Also her fantastic comeback from a walk. You walk Kettleman to first, punch out Mitchell. Not a bad start to the inning.
That'll bring up Brooke Benson, the shortstop. Benson hangs in there in the right-handed batter's box. Dirk winds up and fires. Benson launches that one to center field. Blair heads up to the wall. Did she catch it? No, she did not. And Brooke Benson puts that one over the center field wall for a two-run homer. Puts the Hoosiers up 4-1.
Hard to say that this game isn't on the same track as it was yesterday right now, Kelin. It's early. You don't want to give up hope, but with one out in the bottom of this lineup being just as efficient as the top was in that first inning, Michigan's defense is struggling to hold on. The question will fall to the offense. Can they keep up?
And we saw Lexi Blair rob one from Brooke Benson yesterday. Blair that time climbed the ladder again, had a chance at it, just couldn't haul it in. And Benson wins that time. Cora Bassett now back up with one out, bases cleared from the Benson home run. First pitch in for ball one. Again, Bassett led off with a home run in inning number one, and she chops that one foul down the first base line.
Livingston ran out to grab that one and tossed it a little off to Durkowski. That went on, so no worries. You can hear the cheers of the Indiana dugout. They're certainly enjoying themselves in the first inning and a half of this game.
Durkowski sets, fires away, chopped straight back by Bassett, and that'll make the count 1-2 with one out here in the top of the second. Hoosiers up 4-1 on Michigan. Those bats are really working. Durkowski rocks back, winds up, and fires away. Swing and a miss. Durkowski struck her out. For out number two of the inning, Cora Bassett takes a big hack and can't make contact. Durkowski's fourth strikeout of the outing.
One out away from ending this inning and giving the Michigan bats an opportunity to make up what they've let up so far.
But not an easy out at the plate with Taryn Kern at the dish. The freshman doubled in her first at-bat. to right.
Highest batting order in this lineup, sitting at 429. It's actually going to be 433 after that double.
Kern hangs in and lets that one slide by for strike 2. Thought about it, but wouldn't pull the trigger. 0-2 now on the freshman.
That off-speed certainly tripped her up. You watched her go through the process of considering that pitch.
Kern spins the bat around her shoulder. Durkowski sets, rocks back, winds up and releases. It's fouled. Kern just caught a piece of that to stay alive.
That was a big swing from Kern. She was above the ball. Chopped that one back to the backstop.
The Michigan outfield playing back. Indy Langford with 2 feet in the outfield grass. The pitch from Durkowski in there for strike 3. Kevin Conder punches out Kern, and Lauren Durkowski with back-to-back strikeouts sits down the Hoosiers. But not before a 2-run blast from Brooke Benson tacks on 2 more for Indiana. 4-1 Hoosiers on top as we head to the bottom of the second. Due up for Michigan is Lexi Voss, Audrey LeClaire, and Ella McVeigh.
That's very tough. Is 5 strikeouts so far for Durkowski. She's doing well on the mound. It's a very strong Indiana lineup, and when they're getting on base, they're scoring.
And Dirk struck out the side there. But again, not enough, as Indiana still able to push 2 across. So Kettleman, Bassett, and Kern all strike out. But a 2-run shot from Brooke Benson after, Kettleman walked, Kinsey Mitchell struck out. But a 2-run blast from Brooke Benson puts Indiana up 4-1. And we have a change in the circle for the Hoosiers. Bree Copeland steps into the circle after Macy Montgomery pitches 1 inning. Copeland will step in. We saw her in game 1 yesterday, and she pitched a gem, went the distance, only giving up 1 run in a 4-1 victory for the Hoosiers.
Interesting changeup for Indiana after Macy Montgomery. I mean, she gave up a run, but she held her own, and Indiana has the insurance runs right now to not need to stress. Why do you make this change in the game now?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it's a Sunday outing, so you have some time for Copeland to recover after this, but they didn't want to chance it. Copeland, their ace, will step in. And so Lexi Voss steps in for Michigan. First pitch fouled straight back into the netting.
Bottom 3 in the lineup for the Wolverines coming up. Lexi Voss, followed by Audrey LeClaire and Ella McVeigh to round it out for the Wolverines. Voss, the lowest batting average in this lineup, 192 so far this season in only 26 at-bats.
And we've seen Bonnie Thole experiment with the designated player spot this season. We've seen Lexi Voss here more recently. We've seen Riley Carcaborough in this spot, the freshman Maddie Erickson. As there's a swing and a miss for strike 3, Voss is sat down by Copeland.
You can make that 5 for 27 so far in the year for Lexi Voss.
That brings up Audrey LeClaire, the third baseman for the Wolverines. LeClaire had her highlight game yesterday where Michigan highlighted her achievements as a senior and had some Audrey LeClaire trivia up on the Jumbotron as that first pitch is in for a strike.
LeClaire sitting at a .257 batting average in 109 appearances.
And LeClaire lets another one slide by for a called strike. 0-2 hole now for the third baseman.
Brianna Copeland needed no time to settle into that position on the rubber. She's been hitting her mark since pitch 1.
And that's going to be just off the dish for ball 1. Avery Parker held it there, tried to frame it, but Condor didn't buy it. So Bree Copeland will reset. And that one hits the mark. Condor punches out LeClaire for out number 2. Back-to-back strikeouts for the righty, Bree Copeland. And that'll bring up Ella McVeigh, the sophomore shortstop from Des Moines, Iowa.
McVeigh steps in with a .274 batting average in 95 appearances so far this year. 2 outs, no one on.
First pitch in for ball 1 to McVeigh.
She lined up her swing for a moment there, pulled back and did not go.
Ella McVeigh shows bunt, pulls it back and chops that one foul into the netting along the third baseline. So 1-1 count on the sophomore. The shortstop for the Wolverines has made a number of nice plays in the field and a number of timely hits this season for the Wolverines as well. Lets that next pitch slide by for ball 2, 2-1 count. McVeigh taps the plate a couple of times, shows bunt, pulls it back and rips that one down the third base line. That'll be a single for McVeigh. Got under the outstretched arm of Cora Bassett, who has moved into left field, into third base. And some defensive changes for the Hoosiers that we should note. The outfield is now Parker in right, still Mitchell in center, Kettleman in left. Bassett has moved to third with the change of Copeland in the circle, and Lauren Warwick is now behind the dish. So that'll bring up Ellie Sealer. Sealer doubled in her first at-bat. Michigan looking to get a 2-out rally going with McVeigh with good speed on first.
McVeigh 66.7% on her stolen bases this year, 2 for 3.
First pitch in for a strike on Sealer. You're saying, Owen?
I was going to say down with 2 outs. Not sure if you send her.
Doesn't look like Bonnie Thole is looking to get that aggressive right now as Sealer fouls another pitch off. 0-2 to the sophomore left fielder.
Sealer finds herself down in the count. 297 her average.
That's going to be low and away to Sealer for ball 1. Lexi Blair on deck for Michigan. Again, Sealer and Blair both doubled to start the game, which got 1 run across in the first for the Wolverines, but Macy Montgomery, her day was called after 1 inning of work. Bree Copeland now in the circle as that ball is launched into the outfield. Back to the wall, to the warning track goes Mitchell as she hauls it in. Sealer put a charge into that one, but the wind died down and it just wasn't enough to get out of the yard. So Indiana ends the inning. Michigan strands McVeigh, and we'll head to the top of the third.
The Wolverines come 2 feet short of making this a 1-run game.
It was a great swing by Sealer. She gave it a ride, but that flag in center field has died down, not getting that straightaway center field wind that we had earlier. And so Michigan can't get anything going in the second. For the Hoosiers to start off the third, it'll be Minnick, Stone, and Copeland. Minnick struck out looking in her first plate appearance. Stone had the RBI double. in her first plate appearance. Lauren Durkowski, as expected, still in the circle for Michigan. And so Owen, Michigan in a hole here. Obviously, the thought process is simple. You just got to try to find a way to minimize the damage that these Indiana bats can do.
It's tough because it's like you said earlier. When I said Michigan's offense needs to make up for what the defense lets up, it really isn't that. It's more so, like you said, Indiana has a very strong lineup. The defense has been strong whenever the ball has been put in play and they're able to get to it. The question comes down to, is the ball put in play? Like, Michigan's defense has been excellent so far, and Durkowski is holding her own on the mound. She has 5 strikeouts already and 6 outs.
It's just those couple of long balls that can really hurt you.
And Indiana has been placing balls perfectly. So despite the fact that the Wolverines' outfield and infield is executing very well, still balls are getting through, runners are moving around the bases, and scoring, it seems, is inevitable.
And that's kind of a similar story to what we saw yesterday. Durkowski sets up here for Taylor Minnick, the sophomore, as pitch number 1's in for a strike. Minnick just took a look at it. So a 0-1 count to Minnick. Minnick in that designated player spot today. Pitch number 2 bounces low for a strike, or excuse me, for ball 1. Despite a somewhat chilly day here in Ann Arbor, the crowd is filled out nicely, as that one is going to be laced and out of here. Taylor Minnick got a hold of it and put it over straightaway center. Another line drive type home run.
That was knocked down a child out in the stands.
That was a bullet. And I think you're right. I think a child did get knocked down there.
They just called over the EMT crew, it seems.
We hope whoever got hit there is okay. And it doesn't seem like it'd be anything too bad, but again, hope they're okay. But a ball that was absolutely mashed by Taylor Minnick. She hit it on the screws, and that thing wasn't falling down. That thing was still going with velocity as it lifted over the center field wall.
That was another line drive ball.
Stone rips one into left, but an easy fly out to Mattia for out number 1. 5-1 Hoosiers after the Minnick home run. Minnick adds to her tally, her 10th of the season. Tied for second on the team with Bree Copeland behind Taryn Kern, of course, who leads the country with 21. Copeland way out ahead of that one, swing and a miss, strike 1.
Now, I think that home run is emblematic of what we were just talking about a moment ago. Indiana is going to put runs on the board. These home runs, they're frankly inevitable because Durkowski's a strong pitcher for Michigan, and their offense, or their defense rather, is doing fine. Mattia, a good out, good job with the pop fly. It's those home runs, it's the balls that you can't get to that are going to kill you.
And again, Durkowski, 5 strikeouts through 2 1/3 innings of work. But 3 home runs now given up as Copeland again fans at an off-speed pitch, 0-2 now to the sophomore, who has started in the started at third and now moved into the circle on the other side. Durkowski winds up, fires, and that one's going to be charged into right. Mattia camps under it for out number 2.
Another strong out for Mattia. Perfect placement, a routine pop fly, and she was there. Michigan doing what they can on defense very well so far.
So 2 flyouts to Mattia after the home run from Taylor Minnick brings up Avery Parker. Parker, the freshman, started behind the dish, now moved out to right. That's in there for a strike. Parker struck out in her first plate appearance. Durkowski rocks back, releases. That's going to be off the dish for ball one. 1-1 count to Parker. 333 on the season, 9 home runs, 36 RBIs. Here comes the 1-1. And Parker is just going to watch it head low for ball 2. You know, when it just feels like Indiana's had the leg up the whole time.
It certainly does. Durkowski's hitting her marks. The defense is playing well. They're placing balls, though, where Michigan can't get to them.
That's going to be popped way up. LeClaire heads over to the wall, but that's well out of play. No chance at that one. 2-2 now on Parker after she fouled that one off into foul territory near the bounce house and along the third base side. Durkowski fires away off speed, just low for ball 3. Full count now on Avery Parker.
Worth noting, credit to Michigan and the fan experience team getting the bounce house out here. Always nice to see them making these events more engaging for all sorts of fans.
Big Fan X guy, Owen Crain.
I don't work for Fan X, I just like them.
Durkowski spins it around in her hand. The payoff pitch from Dirk, and it's going to be chopped to LeClaire. LeClaire fields it, fires to first. Livingston holds on, and that'll end the inning. But again, not before the Hoosiers continue to tack on another run. A solo shot from Taylor Minnick puts Indiana up top 5-1 as they extend their lead. Michigan will bat in the bottom of the third. Due up for the Wolverines, it's Blair, Mattia, and Thole. Livingston and Langford after that, potentially.
And we'll see what comes of this, but I think what we said at the beginning of the game is coming true. Michigan's offense needs to keep up with Indiana because Indiana runs are inevitable. Down 4, there's certainly an opportunity. The Wolverines were a few feet away from making this what would be a 2-run game right now on that long shot into center field. Didn't quite make it the way out, instead ended the inning. So this game is by no means over, but definitely slipping out of Michigan's control with each passing inning. And that long ball we just saw on the top of the third, that line drive out of the park into the grandstand at about center field. We still see that child that was struck by the ball you described as a bullet by at least 2 EMT members. Their thoughts are with them, hope everything is all right.
And again, we hope whatever the situation is over there that they're okay. Bree Copeland still in the circle for Indiana. Michigan pushed for a late rally there, but was unable for Sealer's ball to leave the yard. But Lexi Blair will start it off for the Wolverines, the talented senior, with her number 3 painted into the dirt in the infield, along with the numbers of all the other seniors.
No surprise to see Copeland back on the mound. She only threw 15 last inning. Sign she's doing her job very well.
First pitch to Blair, off the plate for ball 1. Blair rests the bat on her shoulder in the left-handed batter's box. Takes a big cut and can't make contact. Strike 1.
She swung at that one, and I believe that hit the dirt right behind the plate. The ball dropped fast on her.
Blair settles in yet again. Copeland winds up, fires. Misses low for ball 2. 5-1 Hoosiers on top through 2.5 innings of play. We're in the bottom of the third now. Michigan, no outs. 2-1 count to Lexi Blair, the star center fielder for Michigan. That's going to bounce well ahead of the plate for ball 3. 3-1 hitters count now for Blair.
This might be the first at bat we've seen Copeland struggle to hit her marks.
And again, Copeland so dominant yesterday in game 1 of the doubleheader. She fires there, and that's in there for strike 2. Full count now on Lexi Blair.
So full count. We saw Blair chase one that probably was a ball had she not swung. Michigan could really use their leadoff runner on base.
Going to be chopped just foul. So Lexi Blair will get another chance at it here. Stays alive. Owen grooving out to the Bee Gees there. And she walked her. Lexi Blair takes first base as the payoff pitch is low.
Brianna Copeland's first walk of the game. She already has 2 strikeouts to her name. Now she'll send Blair on a free ride down to first base. And the Wolverines in the best situation possible. Runner on first. No outs. And Copeland looking to start hitting her marks again, struggling. In that first at bat of the inning.
Mattia now at the plate for Michigan. First pitch upstairs for ball 1. Blair, the most effective on the base paths for Michigan, 15 of 16 on stolen base attempts. Wouldn't be shocked to see her go here. With Michigan looking for a spark. Pitch 2 off the dish for ball 2. So Copeland will stand on the rubber and fire that in. That's going to be popped in to left field. A sliding catch from Cassidy Kettleman. How about that one from the left fielder as Copeland points out to her left fielder with a nod of respect.
Great slide to save a well-placed ball that, if it landed, would have placed the Wolverines with at least 1 runner in scoring position with no outs. Instead, 1 out, a runner on first, as Blair had to stop short halfway down the base path and return to first base.
Kiki Thole now steps up to the plate for Michigan. 1 out, 1 on. Blair takes off, and the throw is not in time. Lexi Blair with some thievery takes second. A nice jump from the senior.
How about that toss from Warwick back behind home plate? Very well placed. That was a close one at second, but Blair's speed took her all the way.
Again, Lauren Warwick stepped in as catcher after the substitution to bring in Copeland into the circle. Thole rips that one into right field. Blair rounding third. The throw to the plate is not in time. And Lexi Blair scores from second. Michigan with their second run on the board. Kiki Thole with her second RBI of the game. Excellent base running from Blair to avoid the tag at the plate.
Not to be missed is the look head coach Bonnie Thole gave to Kiki at first. Pointed at second, asking why didn't you run after the ball was ultimately thrown home. Perhaps a missed opportunity on Kiki's part to make it to second base, and a little bit of frustration from the Wolverines head coach at third.
That's right, a missed opportunity to take an extra base, get a runner in scoring position. Livingston takes a big cut there as Thole has to slide back to first. Warwick saw her creeping off the bag and tried to catch Thole napping. 1 out now for Livingston. Thole on first. Big cut from Livingston. Now she's down in an 0-2 hole.
One out, runner on first. Livingston will walk over to head coach Thole. And the Hoosiers will bring half of the infield in to speak with Copeland, along with the catcher. First and second base, Stone and Kern take their time to meet independently. Now we'll head inside the circle.
And Indy Langford on deck for Michigan. Lexi Voss in the hole. 1 down, 1 runner on in the bottom of the third as Michigan tries to chip away at that Indiana Hoosier lead thanks to a trio of home runs from Bassett, Minnick, and Benson. Next pitch is fired back foul, so we'll stay 0-2 on Livingston. 1 down, 1 on. Kiki Tholes RBI single into right. Scored Blair. That's going to slide off the glove of Warwick, and Kiki Thole makes her way to second standing up. So a 1-2 count now to Livingston, and Michigan advances Thole to second on the pass ball.
So Thole regaining what she missed on that initial hit of hers. Good heads-up play, crafted by head coach Thole.
Thole's going to make a substitution here. Maddie Ramey, the freshman, will head into pinch run for Kiki Thole. This is something we've seen frequently this year. Ramey being one of the first out of the dugout to act as a pinch runner. And now Indiana's coaching staff will head out to the circle to discuss as we have a meeting. And again, Ramey with a little more speed on second provides just a little more concern for the Hoosiers. And Ramey will now head over to talk with Bonnie Thole. Livingston with a 1-2 count. 1 out, 1 on for Michigan. Chilly day at the park, overcast, but
plenty of fans in attendance.
Absolutely. Fouled off there by Livingston. She'll stay alive. Plenty of fans. The diehards make their way out as usual.
Oh, you've got our Michigan Stormtrooper down the third base line.
Livingston hangs in there. That's going to be high for ball 2. Good eye from the Penn State transfer, the grad student Livingston. Livingston spins the bat around, rests it on her shoulder, and she's going to launch that one into right. Caught in right field as Ramey is held at second. So a big time out there as Cora Bassett, or excuse me, that was Avery Parker after the substitution, hauled it in there and right. Bonnie Thole elects to hold Ramey at second. That'll bring up Indiana Langford with 2 outs and a runner on second. And Warwick will try to find Ramey sleeping. Ramey's going to dive back to second base. Kern applies the tag just to let her know she's there.
And Ramey made it back in plenty of time, but Warwick certainly wanted to send a message.
Langford fouls that one straight back. Boy, would Michigan really like to push another one across here in the bottom of the third.
Runner in scoring position, all Langford needs to do, and I don't want to make it sound easy, but place that ball somewhere in the outfield where it can land.
That one's going to be chopped. And a play at the plate now is not in time. Maddie Ramey scores from second on an infield chopper. Taryn Kern didn't field it entirely cleanly, and a throw to first was just a little bit high. The speed of Indy Langford too much, and an infield single for Langford drives in Maddie Ramey from second. Michigan cuts the lead to 2.
Warwick will give a nasty look to Stone at first, unhappy with that throw. Meanwhile, Ramey comes in, didn't necessarily swim, but moved her hand a few inches perfectly to avoid a high tag coming in from Warwick. Managed to move her hand right back to the plate in the nick of time, makes it home, and the Wolverines have found an offensive stride here. Runner on first, 2 outs, only down 2 right now, really clawing their way back into this game.
Big hack there from Voss. Can't make contact, 0-1. And that's absolutely right, Owen. Credit to Maddie Ramey with that kind of swim move, like you said, to avoid the tag. The throw was there in time, but just not a great opportunity for a tag. Langford takes off and will take second. Thought about trying to go for a third as the ball slid out of the glove of Brooke Benson, but she was held at second. She popped up quick, trying to make it down to third.
Yeah, good quick thinking by Langford to not try for third. She surely would have been out on that one. Benson bobbled the ball. The throw wasn't in time anyways. Perhaps Warwick a little flustered back behind the plate.
Copeland fires. Voss dribbles that one down the third baseline. And again, Langford with tremendous speed on second. A threat to score on a base hit from Voss.
We just saw an Indiana player head down to the bullpen. Let's see if they're considering a change.
Copeland winds up and fires. Voss fouls it off and will run the 1-2 back. Again, 1-2, 2 outs. Bottom of the third, Michigan has pushed 2 across here in the bottom of the third on Bree Copeland, who pitched a gem in game 1 of the doubleheader yesterday. Went the full 7 innings, only gave up 1 run. Copeland winds up, fires. That's going to be popped up into the outfield. Kern calls off the center fielder, Mitchell, and that'll end the inning.
Not before, however, Michigan cuts the deficit to 2 runs, putting up 2 runs this inning. That took us from 5-1 to 5-3. Certainly nothing to sniff at, and we'll see if Indiana makes any defensive pitching changes. We've got someone warming up in the bullpen. Copeland looking a little less steady this inning as the Wolverines finally found some offense. 5-3, Michigan down by 2 after 3 full innings of play.
And Owen, through 3 here, we've seen Michigan get their stride a little bit offensively. It wasn't one hit. That was consistent hitting and really solid base running from the Wolverines. They took advantage of a couple of mistakes, not errors from Indiana, but just a couple of mistakes, and the Wolverines were able to capitalize there. But it's going to come down to Lauren Durkowski. Can she minimize the damage here from the Indiana bats? She held the Hoosiers to 4 runs yesterday in game 1 of the doubleheader, already given up 5 through 3 today, and 3 home runs at that.
I'd say that what we've seen so far is the juxtaposition between these 2 teams. Michigan has been perfect in the field defensively, but Indiana has some star power in their lineup. It can put balls in play and knock balls out of this park. Meanwhile, the Wolverines, they're not necessarily there. They're a strong team. They've got some fantastic players, but they don't have that star power to carry them over the finish line. Rather, they've been working hard, putting in the grit, and waiting for Indiana to make those errors. And when they have, they've pounced.
And the Michigan lineup not necessarily holds the power that this Indiana lineup does. I mean, they absolutely mash the softball. Michigan's leading home run hitter Kiki Thole would be tied for 3rd on the Hoosiers with 9. Hoosiers have 2 with 9 in their lineup.
Right now, though, Kelin, Michigan's making it work with what they have. They're down 2, but halfway through the game, not a terrible place to be if they can keep taking advantage of Indiana slips on defense.
7-8-9 for the Hoosiers. Kettleman, Mitchell, and Benson due up. We'll start with Kettleman, the left fielder, who made a nice sliding catch in the 3rd. The Michigan infield having some fun as they get ready here. Again, cloudy day in Ann Arbor. Some potential rain on the horizon, but nothing yet, so we're going to keep playing.
That's not great. I biked here.
Durkowski lets it fly, and that's going to be off the dish for ball 1. Oh, and that's about the most on-brand thing I could have guessed, is that you would bike here.
Of course I biked here. I want to get here fast. I want to get out of here fast when the game's over, avoid the traffic. Nothing better than a bike.
That bunt's going to go straight back, so Kelin will trot back to home. 1-1 now on Cassidy Kelin, the freshman left fielder. 268 on the year from the dish. Kettleman's going to chop that one to short. McVeigh fields it cleanly, fired to first, and she got her.
Gorgeous defensive play from Michigan. Again, every routine batted ball, they are just firing away, getting things done exactly the way they're coached to do.
And McVeigh made a number of non-routine plays look easy yesterday. A couple of nice backhand picks and deliveries to Livingston at first, continuing her stellar play at short today. Durkowski fires that in off the plate for ball one. To Kinsey Mitchell, the center fielder for Indiana.
And she could basically be the very top of their lineup, a .364 batting average.
Mitchell, the only one in this Indiana lineup without a home run this season.
And she did strike out looking earlier, so she's at the plate looking for revenge, and statistics suggest she'll make it on base sometime this game.
On base percentage of about 40%. The delivery from Durkowski, fielded by McVeigh. McVeigh fires over again. And a close play at first. Liz Hammerschmidt gonna say that Kenzie Mitchell beat the throw. Michigan stunned at that call. Bonnie Thole not pleased. McVeigh can't believe it.
Now McVeigh did take a moment to throw that ball, fielded it, took it out of the glove, put it back in for a second. Almost that routine throw motion. But that extra second did cost her. Mitchell called safe at first.
So that'll bring up Brooke Benson. Benson homered to center field in her first appearance. Getting revenge on Lexi Blair after Blair robbed her of one yesterday. Jumping up over the wall to haul that one in. Durkowski fires away. That's off the plate for ball one. 1-1 count to Benson. And one runner on in Kinsey Mitchell, who reached on an infield single. Durkowski sets, rocks back, spins that arm and fires away. Benson went for a bunt attempt there, couldn't make contact. 1-2 count. Thole popped up quick to fire back to first, but Mitchell scared back by Thole's quick pop. Durkowski off speed, gets the swing and the miss. Lauren Durkowski with her 6th strikeout of the afternoon. The deadly off speed from 18.
Fantastic pitching from Durkowski. Like you said, all afternoon. She's been hitting her marks really well. Dealt with this bottom three in the lineup exceptionally well. McVeigh, of course, that throw to retire Mitchell wasn't quite in time, but the Wolverines held strong. This 7-8-9 in the lineup.
First pitch, a ball to Cora Bassett. We're back at the top of the order for Indiana. Bassett, of course, homered in the first and struck out in the second. Mitchell on first with 9 stolen bases this year. Hasn't been caught yet. Bassett puts a charge into that one. Blair back to the wall and hauls it in. Lexi Blair collides with the wall in center field, but hangs on through the contact to get Michigan out of the inning unscathed. 5-3 as we head into the bottom of the 4th. How about it from Lexi Blair in center? She's been making plays, flashing the leather all weekend.
First inning that the Wolverines hold Indiana with no runs scored. And it looks like the tides of this game may be turning in favor of Michigan. We'll see if they can close this 2-run deficit. That was their best inning yet defensively. The most critical you could be. Was a little late on the throw from McVeigh, but Michigan handling batters 7, 8, 9, and 1. exceptionally well. Holds Indiana for the first time 5-3 after 3.5 innings of play.
And that's exactly what the doctor ordered. If you're Michigan, Lauren Durkowski gets the job done there from the circle. And a fantastic grab in center from Lexi Blair. So for Michigan, it'll be the bottom of the order, LeClaire, McVeigh, and then Sealer as we head into the bottom of the fourth. We saw some action earlier in that Indiana bullpen, but it's still Bree Copeland from the circle. Infield stays the same. Stone at first, Kern at second, Benson at short, Bassett at third. And the outfield the same as well. Parker in right, Mitchell in center, Kettleman in left.
So 2-run deficit for the Wolverines, a chance to try to close that here. Brianna Copeland back on the mound, even though we saw some bullpen activity from Indiana at the end of last inning.
Good energy here at the park. We're just waiting for TV likely to be ready to go.
We've been waiting for TV every inning. Three Indiana outfielders will get in a selfie with the fan in the meantime during the break. We can happily report that the kid struck by a ball earlier returned back to the stands. EMTs on hand did their job well. Pink flags flying over Carol Hutchins Stadium in honor of yesterday's pink game. It would be game 1. LeClaire finally at the end of this TV timeout, ready to step up, get us started here for the bottom of the fourth.
LeClaire lets that first pitch slide by for ball 1. LeClaire got caught looking at her first plate appearance. That one's going to be sent right through the gap, gets under the glove of Kern. And that'll be a single for Audrey LeClaire as she reaches safely. Another one of the seniors with that number 25 painted in white chalk in the dirt. Mataya's 17 out there as well. Livingston's 24. Lexi Voss is 11. And Jessica Garman 16, along with Blair's 3, recognizing all the seniors. McVeigh now up for Michigan. She bunts foul for strike 1.
Good start to the inning offensively for Michigan again. A runner on first with no outs, and Ella McVeigh certainly the batter you want up at the plate. She's 1 for 1 today after she reached first. Being in the second inning, she'll line up her swing. This time lays down the bunt. Easy out after it's scooped up by Bassett.
And so a productive out at that as Michigan will advance LeClaire to first, or excuse me, to second. That'll bring up Ellie Sealer. Sealer 1 for 2 on the day, a double to get things going in the first, and then flew out to center in the second. Copeland fires away. First pitch in there for a strike.
One out, runner on second, scoring position for Michigan as they're down 2 here in this bottom of the 4th inning.
And a big chance for Michigan to chip away after stopping Indiana in the top of the 4th. That pitch is going to be fouled off the shin of Sealer.
That's gotta hurt.
Sealer takes a quick hop out of the box to shake that off.
At least Sealer made it to second, hit a double in the first, and then popped out in the 2nd inning. 1 for 2 today, a batting average of .295 on the season.
Sealer winds the bat above her head. Lets that slide by for ball 1. 1-2 count to the left fielder, Sealer. 38 hits on the year. Sealer gonna lace that one. It'll get through the gap. And Michigan will hold LeClaire at 3rd as Sealer advances to 2nd as the cutoff to the plate was not in time. Sealer with some aggressive base running makes it to 2nd, and Michigan with 2 runners in scoring position with 1 out in the bottom of the 4th. That'll bring up Lexi Blair.
Fantastic heads-up base running on Sealer's part. That ball right through the gap. Benson couldn't quite get it in her glove. Mitchell will field it out in center. Thinking LeClaire is rounding 3rd and heading home, she throws to Copeland on the mound, who then, and that time doesn't see Sealer making it to 2nd until it's too late. Runners on 2nd and 3rd now for Michigan.
Runners on 2nd and 3rd, and first pitch from Copeland to Blair is low for ball 1. Like you were saying, Owen, excellent base running from Sealer, very aware of what's going on. And that's in for a strike. 1-1 now to Blair.
Now the base running is crucial because it sets Michigan up here. Their best batter is at the plate. .360 Lexi Blair's average so far this season. 22 RBIs, a chance to make that 24 right now with runners on 1st and 2nd. A well-hit ball ties this game.
Copeland fires away. Blair knocks it foul and toward the Michigan dugout. And Copeland tends to work pretty quickly from in the circle. So Blair steps out of the box to give herself some time to recalibrate. Swings the bat around her shoulder. Copeland winds and fires. And they're going to say that that was in the zone. Blair gets caught looking for a strikeout. Not ideal for the Wolverines. That brings up Ellie Mattia now with 2 outs and 2 on. A big-time strikeout from Copeland to take off some pressure. That pitch is in there for a strike. Kevin Conder made the call, the home plate umpire. Mattia sets, Copeland fires. And another called strike. Mattia down 0-2 very quickly. And the Hoosiers in a jam, a strike away from getting out unscathed. Copeland fires away, and that's going to be chopped foul down the left field line.
Good work on Mattia's part, staying alive, chopping that one down 3rd.
Copeland again, 1 strike away from getting out of the jam after a single by LeClaire and another single by Sealer. A swing and a miss. They're going to say she caught a piece. Mattia stays alive just barely.
That ball fell in and out of Warwick's glove.
This is a big spot for the Wolverines here. Mattia lets that one go by just low. The Hoosier dugout thought that was going to be a punch out.
That was a risky one to take.
Mattia with a good eye lets it go by. 1-2 now from Copeland. Upstairs at the eyes for ball 2. Mattia working her way back into this count. The 2-2. Low And inside, and Mattia has worked the count to full. A big time pitch here from Copeland. Copeland stares down Warwick. The payoff pitch is going to be chopped right back to Copeland. Easy throw over to first, and the Hoosiers get out of the inning unscathed. Cool under pressure is Bree Copeland, and Indiana escapes a threatening situation from Michigan. 5-3 through 4 innings of play. Michigan strands 2 in scoring position in the bottom of the 4th.
That's a tough one for the Wolverines, who had their tying run on second. Nonetheless, though, Michigan's bats, they came alive, unable to do anything. We'll see if that momentum can carry over into the 5th inning. Of course, before that, the defense needs to hold here. You fought back, you've clawed your way back to a 2-run deficit. Now, halfway through the game, you have to try do whatever you can to hold a very strong Indiana offense, and it will be difficult. Kern leads this inning off. She's sitting at a .430 batting average. Minnick follows her at .409. And then the small blip with Stone at .281 is followed by Copeland, who bounces us back up to a .338 average. Those next 3, 4, 5 batters, they are very tough to face off against. So certainly, Lauren Durkowski, who has returned to the rubber, has her work set out for her in this top of the 5th inning.
And Dirk, with a fantastic 4th inning there, struck out a number of batters, 6 Ks on the outing. And Dirk's going to have to do it again, and she's going to have her work cut out for her. Taryn Kern, like you said, will lead us off. As Adam Bressler in the comments saying he's listening from his commencement ceremony. A big shout out and thank you to all of our seniors here at WCBN. Adam, Charlie, Zach, Stevie,
Dolson.
Ryan Dolson. Neil's a senior, but he doesn't count because he's coming back next year.
Yeah. Adam, we love the dedication. Thanks for listening.
I really hope I'm not forgetting anyone.
Yeah, that's on you, man. I didn't try.
Taryn Kern steps in. Amir. Graduate senior. First pitch in for ball 1 to Kern. Kern deep in the batter's box. Holds off on the off speed. Nice pitch from Durkowski. 1-1 now to the freshman star from California. And Kern hangs really far back in the batter's box. Has her back foot on the back line of the chalk. Chopped well back toward that Indiana dugout. 1-2 now on Kern. And again, Michigan witnessed the power that Kern possesses. There's a reason she has 21 tanks on the year. That leads the country and obviously the Big Ten as well. Durkowski fires away up high for ball 2.
At .430 average, it's Taryn Kern is a woman who will wait for a pitch she wants. 39 walks so far to her name this season.
And only 30 strikeouts. That's a sign of a great hitter. The 2-2 from Durkowski. Swing and a miss. Durkowski set her down.
Make that number 31 on the season.
Lauren Durkowski punches out Taryn Kern for her 7th strikeout of the game. Dirk is cooking from the circle. It'll bring up Taylor Minnick. 1 for 2, struck out in the first, but got Dirk back with a home run in the 3rd. A big out there for Michigan. Kern doesn't strike out often, but Got her there. And that's going to be hit right back to Durkowski. Fumbles it, able to flip it to Livingston with plenty of time for out number 2. So 2 down in the top of the 5th. Still 5-3 Hoosiers, but 2 quick outs. Lauren Durkowski doing it herself. Gets a strikeout on Kern and fields the ground ball from Minnick. Flips it to Livingston for out number 2. That'll bring up Sarah Stone, the sophomore first baseman. Stone with an RBI double in the 1st and flew out in the 3rd to Ellie Mataya.
By the way,
pitch low for ball 1.
Sorry, my timing's been awful today.
No
but
worries,
that fumble from Durkowski, she gloved it, made the flip from her glove. A good heads-up play, understanding the timing of the situation. Again, a testament to Michigan's defense. Whenever possible, they've been holding strong.
Dirk fires in another strike for strike 1 of this at-bat. And this is looking more like the Lauren Durkowski we're used to. Getting a lot of swings and misses. And dominant from the circle. Dirk rocks back, fires away, check swing. And Liz Hammerschmidt, the first base umpire, gonna say she didn't go on the appeal. Dirk checks her wristband, rocks back, winds up and fires. Off speed, threw off the timing of Stone. 2-2 now. Stone hitting .281 on the season, but those 56 RBIs, second in the conference. Does not strike out often, only 17 strikeouts on the season and over 150 plate attempts. Fouls that one straight back.
That was a high ball, but like you said, she doesn't strike out often. She's not taking any chances.
Aggressively protecting the plate there is Stone. Dirk glances at the wristband, sets her grip, rocks back, winds up and fires. That's going to be popped right over our heads. It'll land on the roof of the press box. Well, foul. So we'll do 2-2 one more time.
That's incredible for Stone. 151 at-bats and only 17 strikeouts. To only have a .281 average, she must put the ball in play all the time.
Durkowski, 2-2. Going to be launched into right center. Mataya ranges over and hauls it in for out number 3. Michigan gets out of the inning 1-2-3 off some excellent work from Lauren Durkowski from the circle. We'll head to bottom 5 with Michigan on tap for Thole, Livingston, and Langford to get us started. 4, 5, 6.
That's 2 innings now that the Wolverines have held Indiana. So make that essentially the best part of their lineup. They managed to shut down and hold. I mean, Michigan, they lost 4-1 in game 1 yesterday, of course. That one close, where the Wolverines held the offense. This one more run through 4.5 innings. But honestly, a great showing for Michigan's defense. Again, it comes down to, can the offense earn these 2 runs back, tie this game up as we head to the top of the 6th inning.
And I think a lot of this credit has to go to Lauren Durkowski. Not easy pitching against a murderer's row like this Indiana lineup. And you were talking about how she just mowed down the teeth of this lineup. 1, 2, 3. Kern, Minnick, Stone. Those are 3 very good hitters that did not stand a chance against Durkowski.
Fantastic showing.
Bottom 5 from Ann Arbor. Bree Copeland still in the circle for the Hoosiers. Getting some warm-up pitches to Warwick. And again, it's Kiki Thole to get us started in the 4-hole. After that, Livingston and Langford. Righty, righty, lefty, junior, senior, freshman for Michigan. And of course, Thole, plenty of pop in that bat.
Certainly not the spot Michigan would like to be starting its lineup. The 5th, given that they got 5, 6, 7. We got number 4, 5, and 6 here. Let's assume they go 1, 2, 3. That brings up 7, 8, 9. Bottom of the 7th, they go 1, 2, 3 the next 2 innings. You have Sealer, Blair, and Mattia to start you up. So Michigan in all right position offensively. They just need to start cutting down this deficit.
First pitch is going to be hit on a line right to Brooke Benson for out number 1. So that's a really quick out for Copeland. That'll bring up Livingston, the first baseman for Michigan. Melina Livingston steps in to the box for the Wolverines. First pitch pops into the glove of Lauren Warwick for ball 1. Pitch number 2 is low and away for ball 2. Livingston 1 for 2 on the day, single in the first, and flew out to right in the 3rd. And that's 3 straight balls from Copeland, so it'll be a 3-0 hitters count now for Livingston.
A little bit of quality control from Copeland at times.
Copeland delivers, and that's in there for a strike. 3-1 now to the graduate, Livingston.
We'll see 2 players from the bullpen look like a pitcher and catcher exit for Indiana. Head back to the dugout.
And she walked her. Melina Livingston takes first base for free. And Michigan has 1 on with 1 out for Indy Langford.
Good job by Langford holding back, not chasing anything. That wasn't her type of pitch. With 1 out now, Michigan has a runner on first, and Indiana Langford, a freshman batting .315 so far this season at the plate.
Delivery to Langford. That's going to be chopped, and a diving grab by Brooke Benson. How about it from the shortstop? The junior lays out and holds on. A web gem from Brooke Benson at short, flashing the leather.
That's a tough one for Michigan.
That's a tremendous play. That gets through 99 out of 100 times for a single. And Michigan continues to move the line, but Benson lays out and hauls it in. That's 2 line drive catches for Benson this inning for both outs. So it's 1 on, 2 down now for Lexi Voss. Voss 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a pop out. Pops that one back over the press box into foul territory. Copeland. Go ahead, Owen.
I was just going to say she's 0 for 2. Make that 1 for 2.
1 for 3.
1 for 3.
A nice bloop single for Voss, drops short of the left fielder Kettleman. So 2 outs, 2 on now for Michigan as Voss reaches. That brings up Audrey LeClaire in the 8th spot for Michigan. LeClaire 1 for 2 with a single today.
That makes Benson's play look all the better. If Langford had reached, we'd either have bases loaded or another run on the board for Michigan.
Michigan likely scores another one if not for Benson's tremendous play there. First pitch is a ball to LeClaire. Second one rises high and inside as well for ball 2.
No! I'm going to check the swing, and yes, she did go, according to the third base umpire.
And The home crowd not loving it. That's going to get chopped over the head. Oh, and Michigan is thrown out at third. It went over the head of Copeland. Livingston got caught off the bag. And a quick play gets Livingston off of third. The tag applied by Bassett. And the inning ends. LeClaire chopped it over the head of Copeland. And by the time Kern fielded it, Voss had already made it to second, turned to throw to first. LeClaire was already there, but threw to third and got Livingston still making her way back to third after rounding the base.
Really good play by Indiana to end the inning. Wolverines in another solid spot. Instead, they'll strand two. Will remain 5-3 heading into the top of the sixth. A little bit of an exodus in the stands.
And it feels like stranding three there almost.
You did strand three, actually. When you look at it, she made it to first. That would be stranding three, yeah.
Livingston again thrown out at third. Rounded third, and an excellent tag applied by Bassett. So we'll head to the top of the sixth now. Michigan gets two scoreless frames from Durkowski, but can't answer to cut into the Indiana lead. Still 5-3 as we enter the top of the sixth. Up for Indiana, it's Copeland, Parker, and Kettleman, 5, 6, 7. Copeland 0 for 2, Parker 0 for 2, Kettleman 0 for 1. Durkowski's had her way with this part of the lineup so far. Still a ways to go.
Honestly, though, so far we've seen an effort that Michigan fans and Michigan players can be very proud of. Copeland will lead us off. Durkowski back on the mound for Michigan.
Dirk fires away in for strike one. 0-1 now to Copeland. Dirk peeks at the wristband. Sets her grip. Rocks back, winds up and fires away off speed, on the plate for strike two. 0-2 now to Copeland. Copeland's had some struggle with the off speed from Durkowski today. And Dirk has mixed it in beautifully. Dirk rocks back and fires. And that's going to be well off the plate for ball one.
Copeland batting .338, 0 for 2 today.
The 1-2 from Durkowski. Way out ahead of it is Copeland. Durkowski with her 8th strikeout of the outing. And that's out number one. Big swing and a miss from Dirk.
Absolutely a necessary out to bring us into the latter half of this lineup.
Lauren Durkowski has been dealing with her 8th strikeout. Back-to-back scoreless frames. And 18 in blue has really hit her stride. Avery Parker up to the plate now as another off-speed sails in for strike one.
Parker wearing 18 in red. She's 0 for 2 so far today. Struck out in the first, grounded out in the third. A .331 batting average to her name, so she's certainly due up.
And Parker drives that one into left center, and that'll drop for a base hit. Michigan will hold Parker at first, but that's an easy single for Avery Parker, her first hit of the game.
She was due up, and stats don't lie.
The law of averages. Parker about a 330 hitter. 0 for 2 on the day, reaches in her third at bat. That brings up Cassidy Kettleman. Kelin walked in the first, grounded out in the fourth, and watches ball one slide by. Dirk peeks at the wristband, sets herself, rocks back, winds up and fires. That's an excellent bunt. Tough play from LeClaire. Did she get her? She did. Audrey LeClaire crashes in hard from third to receive the bunt and delivers a strike to Livingston. Excellent play from the third baseman, Audrey LeClaire.
And that was Michigan defense doing what it does so well. Kettleman placed that bunt perfectly. She placed it perfectly. We see LeClaire sprint in, sets herself up right to ensure that the throw doesn't hit Kettleman on the run, but gets her just in time, and now 2 outs, runner on second.
A productive out on the bunt, advances Parker to second, but again, now 2 outs, and that'll bring up Kinsey Mitchell. Mitchell singled in the fourth for her lone hit of the afternoon.
Notably struck out looking in the second, now down 0-1 in this count.
And again, Owen, I feel like the big shift in this game has really been Lauren Durkowski finding her groove. Back-to-back scoreless frames, 2 out now, runner on second. Michigan, like we've talked about all game, just hasn't been able to answer at the plate.
2 more opportunities at least for the Wolverines. They're top of the lineup, guaranteed up. The moment now with 2 outs and a runner on second, it comes down to Durkowski to hold.
The 0-1 from Durkowski is in there for strike 2. Dirk up 0-2 on Kinsey Mitchell now. Takes another peek at that wristband. Dirk rocks back, winds up and fires. That's low for ball 1. Kinsey Mitchell, we've talked about how much of an advantage it is to have a nearly 370 hitter in your 8 spot. Dirk, the 1-2 way upstairs for ball 2.
Good grab by Thole.
That's absolutely right. That for sure would have advanced Parker to third.
No,
go ahead, Owen.
Another thing emblematic of this game, Michigan is out-hitting Indiana 10-7 right now, and the board just doesn't reflect that effort.
The 2-2. And a good frame job from Thole, not enough. Kinsey Mitchell works the count to full after being down 0-2.
Fans certainly letting their opinions fly.
The payoff pitch from Durkowski. She sets herself. Rocks back, winds up and fires away. That's going to be slapped and get through the gap. That'll score Parker. And the throw to second is not in time. Kinsey Mitchell with an RBI. I think they'll score that as an RBI single. As an RBI single. And will advance to second on the throw.
Can certainly hear some unhappy fans thinking strike 3 was already thrown.
So that'll bring up Brooke Benson. Benson homered in the second, struck out in the fourth, and made a couple of fantastic plays at short in the bottom of the fifth. So Benson, the junior, looking to drive in another run for the Hoosiers with 2 outs. Durkowski delivers. Big swing and a miss from Benson. 233 hitter. 24 strikeouts to 14 walks on the season.
She is certainly the hitter you want to get out right here. Bassett, Kern, and Minnick due up if the Wolverines retire the side here in the top of the 7th inning. Retire Benson here. Avoid that top of the lineup. Mitchell is the power hitter in the bottom of this lineup at 374. She knocked that double right through with ease. now's the time to end this inning and leave it to the Michigan Bats to try to close this 3-run gap.
The 0-1 to Benson. Off the plate for ball 1. And Indiana ecstatic that their lead has been extended to 3. Michigan will have a meeting in the circle to talk it over here.
We'll see what they come to. No action in the Michigan bullpen. Durkowski's here to stay. She's only 2 strikes away.
Jennifer Brundage in the circle with Lauren Durkowski and Kiki Thole and the rest of the infield to discuss here. Brundage, one of the assistant coaches on Bonnie Thole's staff.
You can hear the excitement of the Indiana dugout and fans.
They've traveled well. That's an excellent pitch in for strike 2 to Benson. 1-2 now to the 9-hole hitting shortstop. Six to 3, Hoosiers on top. Michigan needs to get out here and find some run support. Upstairs for ball 2. 2-2, 2 outs and a runner on second with speed in Mitchell. Mitchell, 9 of 9 on stolen base attempts this season. And that's going to be just off the plate. Kevin Conder.
Again with the 4 strikes.
Really frustrating some of these Michigan fans here.
Our mic's right by someone who's really unhappy. Full count for Durkowski. Runner on second. 2 outs.
Dirk winds, fires, and that's going to be lifted straight to Durkowski for out number 3, but not before Indiana gets one more to touch home plate, extending their lead to 3. 6-3, Hoosiers on top. We head to the bottom of the 6th. Michigan due up. It'll be McVeigh, Sealer, and Blair for the Wolverines.
Ellen McVeigh.
As they look to just cut into that lead and find a way back into this game.
Yeah, McVeigh 1 for 1 today. She reached first in the second. Sacrifice fly in the 4th. Then the top of the lineup due up after her. Certainly Michigan's best opportunity to put some runs on the board. Don't want to leave it to Mattia, Thole, and Livingston as you look towards the middle and bottom half of Michigan's lineup. If there's a time to close this gap, it is right now here in this bottom of the 6th inning.
Hoosiers getting loose. It's still Copeland in the circle. And there's no reason not to have her in there. She's been great today. Only giving up 2 runs through 4 innings of work. And again, we saw Macy Montgomery pitch the first inning, and the first inning only for Indiana. Montgomery gave up 1 run in the bottom of the first before Copeland moving in, switching over from third base to the circle. Ella McVeigh to lead it off for Michigan, the sophomore lefty with good speed. Has hit it well as of late. Not crazy power, but executes when needed and is great at playing that small ball that Michigan has a tendency to gravitate towards at times. As McVeigh shows bunt initially and slaps away the first pitch foul.
0-1 in the count. We see Indiana's infield playing towards the grass. Of course, the corners are in, specifically Bassett at third. She is ready for a bunt.
Second pitch upstairs for ball one. And Michigan really has to get something clicking here. Only 6 more outs. Good frame job by Warwick, but Condor doesn't buy it. 2-1 to Ella McVeigh. McVeigh will show bunt, pulls it back, and bloops that one into foul territory in left. A diving effort from Kelin. Can't get there in time, but laid out Superman style nonetheless. So 2-2 on McVeigh. Bree Copeland has been stellar today. 4 innings, only 1 earned run, but 2 runs have crossed.
Less strikeouts to her name than we've seen on Durkowski's behalf.
The 2-2 is off the plate for a ball, so it's a full count now for Ella McVeigh. In the bottom of the 7th. The payoff pitch is upstairs, and McVeigh happily takes first for free. She reaches for her 2nd time of the afternoon.
We've praised Bree Copeland plenty, but she has struggled to hit her marks at times. This was her 3rd walk of the game. Durkowski certainly has been finding the strike zone more than we've seen from Copeland, whose ERA is up to 3.03 today.
That'll bring up Ellie Sealer, the left fielder. A double and a single, as she's 2 for 3. First pitch in for a called strike.
Her 2 for 3 today has brought her into an exactly 300 batting average. Let's see if she can extend that here.
Copeland delivers. Sealer way out in front. That'll put the count at 0-2 in favor of Copeland.
Michigan batting today 10 for 23. They're .435 as a team.
And that's going to be caught by just a tremendous play from the shortstop, Benson. Catches the line out. McVeigh took a jump off first, and Benson delivers a strike to Stone immediately. The ball was already on the way to Stone by the time McVeigh realized it had been caught, and she couldn't get back in time. How about Brooke Benson at shortstop?
Benson has been playing phenomenal, and she deserves praise for not only making a fantastic catch, but reacting so quickly. She was able to throw out McVeigh at first and really just take the Wolverines' hopes and crush them here.
Been responsible for, it feels like, almost every out these last couple of innings. Seeing a ton of work at shortstop and handling it with ease. Lexi Blair now up, down 0-1 after the first pitch.
Brianna Copeland has pitched very well, but not without the support of her infield.
Pitch number 2 in for strike number 2 on Lexi Blair. And Benson not only getting it done on the defensive side at her shortstop position, but drilled a home run earlier in the game to provide a little extra cushion for the Hoosiers. That pitch is in for a ball. 1-2 now to Lexi Blair with 2 down in the bottom of the 6th. Blair lets the 1-2 slide by for ball 2. And Michigan needs to find some kind of life here. Blair holds off. Full count now to the senior center fielder.
It's a really tough inning for Michigan. Got their hopes up, runner on first, no outs. Collapses in a lucky double play.
That's going to get past the third baseman, and Benson unable to fire it over in time. Slipped off the glove of Cora Bassett. Benson fielded it, but the ball got knocked down, not enough velocity, and the speed of Blair too much as she reaches. So Michigan reaches their second base runner of the inning, but because of the double play, 2 outs now for Lexi Blair alone on the base path, standing on first.
And that certainly should be an error. That was an easy routine play for Bassett. Not sure how that got past her.
First pitch into Ellie Mataya is a called strike. Mataya 0 for 3 on the contest. And I wouldn't be shocked to see Blair go here. Been so effective on the base paths. Stole one earlier today.
Michigan certainly needs to be aggressive offensively right now.
Big cut. And Mataya fans there, 1-2. Blair gonna take off, and no contest there. Warwick blocked it, but it got away from her.
Unable to hold on to that ball, kind of blocked it with her shoulder, which sent it rolling towards the Indiana dugout.
So Blair steals second on the pass ball. 2 outs, runner on second now for Mataya as she belts that one to who else? Brooke Benson. Benson, as expected, fields it cleanly and fires to Stone for out number 3. Brooke Benson has been the thorn in Michigan's side these last couple of innings. Everything they hit can't get past her. And they strand Blair on second. 3 straight scoreless frames from Bree Copeland from the circle. Hoosiers will head to the plate. It's the top of the order. Bassett, Kern, Minnick due up for Indiana.
Durkowski is going to have to be perfect on the mound if Michigan wants any chance at tying this game. Down 3, the task is already difficult. Facing 2 of the best players, frankly, in college softball with averages above 400, Kern and Minnick, 426 and 402 respectively. It's going to be a very difficult inning for Michigan if they want to emerge with a win this game. See if they can do it in 70 seconds.
We've seen good stuff from Durkowski really all game, especially after she settled in. Got touched up a little bit in the first couple of innings, but has really settled in as of late. But it might be not enough, as Michigan's able to provide more run support than they did yesterday, but Indiana's offense has just been so unstoppable all year in conference play. So Michigan's infield will huddle up in the circle. Durkowski will break it down. Cora Bassett steps in to the batter's box for Indiana. Durkowski on the rubber for Michigan. Top of the 7th. Nowhere else you'd rather be other than tuning into WCBN Sports, as there's a rocket to the hot corner, hauled in by Audrey LeClaire for out number 1. We've talked about Brooke Benson at short making plays for Indiana. That's back-to-back innings where we've seen some nice defensive work from Audrey LeClaire at third.
What a fantastic out. Elite reaction time. Threw her glove right out to the ball.
And squeezed the leather to hold on. That'll bring up Taryn Kern. Kern struck out twice today after a double in the first. Some tear it up chants from the Indiana dugout. The 1-0 to Kern. In there for a strike, 1-1, 1 out. None on for Indiana in what is likely their last chance to tack any extra runs on.
Is that a tear it up chant, or were they saying Taryn Kern?
I think they were saying tear it up. Kind of a play on Taryn Kern. Taryn. Come on, Owen.
What do you want from me here?
1-2 on Kern. Durkowski looking to strike her out for the third time this contest. Kern swings the bat over her shoulder. Going to pop that one up. Blair falls underneath it, and there's out number 2.
There, down goes the .426 batting average for Taryn Kern. See if Minnick can keep this Indiana run alive.
Durkowski facing Taylor Minnick now. Minnick homered in the third. That's her lone hit of the day. First pitch is in for a strike. Minnick doesn't strike out often, though. Has drawn 28 walks to 10 strikeouts. That is tremendous plate discipline, something you don't see often for a sophomore. Durkowski, though, up 0-2 here after an off-speed freezes Minnick. Dirk puts her front right foot on the rubber, rocks back onto the left, winds up and fires. That's going to be popped right to McVeigh in the infield, and Michigan gets out of the inning 1-2-3.
What a quick inning. If only they'd done that to the top of the lineup all game, we might be looking at a very different score.
So Michigan has their work cut out for them. The deficit is 3 as we enter the bottom of the 7th. 6-3, Hoosiers on top. And they've been fueled by 3 home runs. Benson, Cora Bassett got us started with a leadoff home run to start the game, and then Minnick had one in the third. And that's been the driving force for Indiana offensively. Michigan due up at Thole, Livingston, Langford. And they're going to try to chip away at this lead and get back to at least take one in this 3-game weekend series. As we kind of talked about it earlier, but the Big Ten tournament and NCAA regionals approach. Michigan close to the chopping line for regionals. They're going to look to add a couple of marquee wins onto their resume. Indiana, of course, would be a good one to pick up here.
Certainly.
And for the Big Ten tournament as well, Michigan's going to look to improve their standing within the conference, obviously. Northwestern, as we all know, on the top of the standings at 17-2. Michigan beat them down on Saturday last weekend at the stadium unveiling ceremony. But Michigan still clinging on to that number 5 spot in the conference. They're a couple games behind Nebraska in 4th and a half game ahead of Ohio State in 6th. The Buckeyes 10-10 in conference play, Michigan 10-9, but a loss here would drop Michigan to even with OSU and Iowa at 10-10 apiece.
Kiki Thole will step up to start us off here in the bottom of the 7th.
Thole rips one into right field, and some excellent range there from Andrews as we have a substitution here. Aaliyah Andrews, the junior, with making a defensive play as the defensive substitution pays off for head coach Shonda Stanton. Chandra Stanton the former coach at Marshall, now with the Indiana Hoosiers. 1 out. Michigan has 2 outs left to get back into this one. Livingston at the plate, down 0-1. Copeland delivers. That's going to be struck through the gap between short and third. Bassett laid out for it but couldn't glove it, and Benson couldn't make a play on it either, so a 1-out single for Livingston brings up Indiana Langford.
Langford 1 for 3 so far today. Popped out in the first and the sixth, and the third reached first.
A bunt from Langford. She's so great at it. Play at first. Throw not in time. Indy Langford's speed pays off, and Michigan's got 2 on with 1 out. The tying run at the plate in Lexi Voss. And so 2 on now, 1 out. Livingston on second. Langford at first as Let's Go Blue chants echo throughout the Hutch, as it's been affectionately nicknamed Carol Hutchins Stadium. Copeland delivers. That's going to be struck down to third base. Double play, not a chance. It'll be ruled a fielder's choice. Bassett couldn't field it cleanly, but used her body to knock it down to stay in front. And she just kind of falls on third base to get the force out.
It's the second bobble we've seen from Bassett so far today. This one a little more warranted. That was a hard hit ball from Lexi Voss. Now, same situation as before. Runners on first and second, except with 2 outs. A lot of pressure falls to Audrey LeClaire.
And Avery Fantucci is going to come in and pinch run for Lexi Voss. Get extra speed on first. Fantucci, a freshman infielder, has seen most of her game time this year as a pinch runner. And so it'll be the senior at the dish for Michigan, Audrey LeClaire. She's 2 for 3 on the day with 2 singles. Struck out looking in the second. Michigan down to their final out with the tying run at the plate. Copeland stares down LeClaire. LeClaire's going to rip it into right field. That's going to get down, and Michigan will load the bases for Ella McVeigh. A first pitch single into right. And the tying run is now at first, the winning run at the plate for the Wolverines with 2 outs to go. Excuse me, with 2 outs on the board.
Ella McVeigh step up to the plate with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Herself the game-winning run.
And Michigan with a chance here late. They're on their last out. And they're going to huddle up as the Hoosiers will join up for a mound meeting in the circle. Pump it up, echoing throughout the sound system here at the Hutch. As Michigan's coaching staff will discuss. Fantucci on second, LeClaire on first, Langford on third. So plenty of speed on the base paths for Michigan, as Indiana will make a substitution here in the circle. With McVeigh at the plate, Copeland, her outing is done. All 3 runners on the base paths she will be responsible for. And I believe that is Heather Johnson. And that is Heather Johnson in the circle. We saw her yesterday in the 15-1 blowout.
Not a bad time to make this pitching change. Kills all the Michigan momentum. Take a moment to reset.
And Copeland, the righty, is switched out for Johnson, the lefty, to go up against the lefty McVeigh. And so now Heather Johnson will get some time to get warm here. Only needs one out. McVeigh drew a walk in the 6th to reach and singled in the 2nd. And we're about ready to go here. Heather Johnson, the choice for Coach Stanton and the Hoosiers. Ella McVeigh in the 9-hole, the choice for Bonnie Thole and the Wolverines. McVeigh, the leading run, the winning run at the plate. LeClaire, the tying run at first. Langford on third, Fantucci to pinch run for Voss at second. Plenty of speed all over the base paths. First pitch is in for a called strike.
McVeigh got a little bit of a run in there. Opted not to go for it.
McVeigh sets herself, shows bunt, pulls it back. Gonna chop that one towards the Indiana dugout foul.
Just like that, Johnson, one strike away from an Indiana win.
0-2 count now on Ella McVeigh after a called for a strike and a foul ball. McVeigh is going to have to protect the plate here and really try to work this count.
No home runs for McVeigh, who with one would win this game for Michigan.
McVeigh shows bunt, pulls it back, going to chop that down the third base line. It's a fair ball. Michigan scores 1. Play at the plate. Michigan scores 2. It's a 1-run ball game. How about that from Ella McVeigh? Chops it right down the third base line. It bounces off the bag fair. And Michigan plates 2 more to cut the lead to 1 in the bottom of the 7th.
Perfectly placed ball, and, well, Copeland unable to make that out to stop 2 of her runners from scoring. Make that a 6-5 game as Michigan cuts this deficit to 1.
Yeah, that defensive substitution notable. Parker back to behind the dish, Bassett back to third, or excuse me, back to right field, and Copeland at third now. That'll bring up Ellie Sealer. First pitch to Sealer is in for a strike. So the tying run, LeClaire, is at second. The winning run, McVeigh, at first. Again, plenty of speed on the base paths for Michigan. Sealer at the dish. She's doubled and singled today. And that's going to be just off the plate for ball 1. 1-1 count to Sealer with 2 outs. Michigan trying to rally. Down 3 in the bottom of the 7th. A 2 RBI single for McVeigh cuts the lead to 1. The 1-1 is going to be fouled back. 1-2 now to Sealer. And Sealer, the sophomore, again, 2 for 4 today with a double and a single.
Just under 300 in her batting average. Same time, Heather Johnson, 1 strike away from the win.
The 2-1. Going to be swung on and struck into left, and it's going to be caught. That's the ball game.
Indiana, as Michigan is 1 run away. A runner on second from tying the game. Steals this one and escapes with the victory.
Cassidy Kettleman came in flying in left field and held onto it for out number 3. It was too little too late for the Michigan Wolverines despite a valiant effort in the bottom of the 7th to come back. An excellent 2-out 2 RBI single from Ella McVeigh puts the Wolverines within 1, but ultimately not enough to get past the Hoosiers, who sweep the Wolverines in the 3-game series 3-0. Michigan's next contest will be Tuesday versus the Western Michigan Broncos. As always, WCBN Sports will have coverage. It'll be myself and Charlie Brigham for what I believe will be his last time putting on the headset for WCBN Sports So please do tune into that little midweek softball action as Michigan starts to get tuned up for their postseason and conference tournaments. Well, with that, we'd like to thank you for tuning into WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball. It was a good one from the Hutch today, but ultimately Michigan falls 6-5. Indiana sweeps the Wolverines at home. For myself, for my partner, Owen Crain, we're going to leave you as we always do with a good night, and go blue.